So hello everybody, this is Fallen. We're going to talk today about some things I think are important when it comes to roles in game. And first of all, sorry for my bad English. I'll do my best here. It's not my main language, and it would be so easier to do this in Portuguese. But I got some requests. I saw people requesting, Fallen, please can you do some of your things we're doing in Portuguese for Games Academy people in English? Would love to see what we're talking about. And I want to show and share some of my thoughts in game with all the people of the world and help more people getting better in this game. So that's why I'm trying my best in English here. And I hope you don't mind listening to some wrong words, but I'll do my best here, okay? So guys, today we're gonna talk about how important is roles in the game and how you can use more of this knowledge to become a better player. And I mean, when you try to make classes, some classes are directly to make you better as an individual, and some classes are directly to make you better as a team. And when it comes to Counter-Strike, to have a good team, you need to have good players. You need to have good players that can play, that are good individuals and knows how to operate in a team. But let's suppose we talk about a strategy here. If we talk about a strategy, you're probably gonna learn something really specific, like, oh, you should do this, and this. But 99% of you guys probably don't have a team yet. You guys don't play on a top tier 2 team or top tier 1 team. So you guys don't really have conditions and opportunity to execute this pretty well. So you might say, just following, I know this is very cool, but it doesn't work for me because I am not playing on this level yet. So I have nothing to do with this. But the thing is, that's not true because if you understand why people do something, even if you are not playing with your team, you are playing a matchmaking or you are playing another type of game, it's a competitive match, you're gonna be catch up in situations where you can use this knowledge. So let's try to talk about this and help you saying, okay? Thank you, my friend. Thanks for the donation. I appreciate that, buddy. So we're gonna talk today about entry killers. We're gonna talk today about support role. We're gonna talk about AWP, and we're gonna talk about lurker.
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel.
Whole talk is really good. Thanks. For the future, when more experienced players talking about proper and effective game communication would be great. Yeah, thanks for the idea, Sauro. We might cut up on other subjects later, man. Don't worry. So entry killers, supports, AWPs, lurkers, and in-game leaders, and shot callers. Okay. So let's start. When you're going to talk about these roles, of course, you can talk generically speaking about every single map. When you go about entry killers, the most common sense says, oh, entry killer is the guy who is going to go first, and he's the guy who probably gonna die or try to kill one, or if he's lucky or he's really good at what he's doing, he got some lucky, he can kill more than one. It's the role we see Freakazoid doing for Cloud9, we see Taco doing for LG, we see Kiyoshima doing for Envious, we see, let's catch up other players that does it pretty well. Well, those are some examples. Of course, there are others, but when you talk about roles, think with me. You can't just think it's like a personal thing. Like you can't just watch Envious and say, Jesus, it's only Kiyoshima doing entry kill stuff. That's not true. There's a lot of situations where you can be a sport player and be catch up on a situation where you should adjust and be the entry killer this time. And that's something I will try to explain, and that's something you need to leave this talk with that on mind. Uh, Roles are important. You can try to decide which player is going to have each role, but when it comes to the real match, things goes different, things go unexpected, and you have to be able to adjust. And that adjust thing is what make you a good player. So let's give a simple example. So Taco is LG entry killer, and for some reason, you if you have some good knowledge about Counter Strike, you know that things starts playing really slowly sometimes. They're holding, just checking for different plays from the CTs, just trying to get info, just trying to punish if someone is aggroing. So when your team is holding, when your team is waiting to do something, your entry killer can die. That can happen something. Like let's suppose it's Mirage. On Mirage, when we are trying to play holding as T, you have two types of hold. One, you're gonna be holding and trying to get mid control. So you're probably gonna have one guy taking care of A, mainly A ramp, and sometimes even both. If the guy doesn't want to take risks, he might only be at T spawn, just looking for A house push, A ramp push, kind of things. Or maybe you can have the guy who's alone here, lurking, playing as a ARAM player. Like your team can be getting mid control, and the ARAM player is like here, getting some info, sometimes even throwing some smokes here to make the guys on A little concerned. So Taco is the guy on LG who is constantly making this kind of plays on A.
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel.
Saudações, valeu Xavier. Gracias. Saudações do Chile, obrigado. So even Taco, he's the entry killer of our team, definitely. But like on Mirage, when we're holding, he's doing a lurking thing. So you're gonna say, Falling, are you guys stupid? Why are you using Taco as a lurker if he's the entry killer? That makes no sense for me. So that's what I'm saying about. That's what I was speaking about. Taco needs to be able to do more than one holding game. I mean, if we're not holding, if we're doing some strategy, like suppose a B entry, a B execute. Let's suppose you're gonna do a B execute. Then Taco is our entry killer. Then we're gonna use him as first guy. Then we're gonna use him as leading the team, asking for flash and going. So first thing, let's suppose Taco dies holding A, and then the shot caller says, okay guys, let's fall back, let's do a simple B entry, and then someone needs to be the entry killer on this round. And you can't act like, oh guys, I don't want to go. Or you can't act like you don't know what's important for entry killer. What's important for entry killer? Entry killer needs to go and get space. If you are a support player and you catch up yourself being the first one, if you try like entering B and you start strafing instead of just going and creating space for a team, you're playing wrongly. You're playing wrongly and you're probably gonna make all the entry doesn't work. So when you understand roles and you understand that depending on how the round is going to happen, your role can change. This is important, okay? Don't think your role will never change and you're only doing one thing, because this is not true, okay? So let's talk a little bit more about entries, but at first, because it's buggy, I can't use name. I need to open again. I was playing deathmatch and it's buggy sometimes. So like the entry killer, when your team is holding, you need to have in your mind that the entry killer is not a hold itself. Like if you are just looking for info and get information, your entry killer can be doing something else. And actually, if you look for a Mirage, you look for mid control. Actually, theoretically, the guy who is entry killing is the guy who is getting mid control, because he's the guy who is looking for kills. I'm gonna show you some simple mid control that every team does, VP does, TSM does, we do, a different type of mid control. So catch up. Every team right now in this meta is playing like this smoke. First of all, to don't die to the snipers on window. That's why they use this smoke. And second, is because they can pass here and sometimes make a smoke on window like this. So when you're fighting for mid control, it's really important to fight against the guys who are playing connector and sometimes guys who are playing on catwalk. And there are different styles. Like let's remember the match between LG and SK. SK has a different approach to Mirage. They don't play catwalk looking for kills. They play catwalk really defensive player. And some teams doesn't play like this. If you look NIP, Forest is constantly looking to get kills here. If you look for Navi, you have Edward who is constantly playing on ladder room. So depending on which team you are playing against and depending which player you are playing against, it's going to be different. But in the end, guys who are going mid are looking for mid control, right? And
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel.
o mic tá falhando. Mic's not getting. Mix is bad, guy. Is it failing or something? It shouldn't be failing. Sorry, boys. Hello. Properly. Thank you for telling me. It's fine. So, uh, let's get back here. So the guys who are fighting for mid control are actually being the entry killers on that period of the round. But after you get mid control, you're probably gonna lose a player and kill a player. That's what happens mostly. You get on 4v4 situation or something like this. You commonly you leave one player, maybe on ladder room, maybe just here on chairs, maybe here behind the box, and you guys fell back to do a B entry or a A entry, a A hit or something. So this guy who started around looking for kills, after mid control, he starts being the lurker. So the main point of this conversation is to let you know that it changed during the round. And your players need to understand, and you need to understand that your role changed. Because if you understand it properly, you're gonna take the right decisions. So let's say your team leave one guy on ladder room, and three guys are coming back A, right? Three guys are going A ramp. Let's suppose two A ramp and one house. So you left, like suppose Code Zero here. I left Code Zero on ladder room. Code Zero needs to understand that right now he's the lurker on this round. He started like an entry killer, now he's the lurker. Why is important to understand that? Because for Code Zero, it's better to just wait or action and catch rotations instead of just, okay guys, I will help you guys entering A, just wait for me. And if he dies, it's going to be bad because we lose all this region, we lose all information, and we lose the opportunity to kill a rotator. So in the end, if Code Zero doesn't understand result properly, he's going to make mistakes. And if he makes mistakes, it's going to make us lose rounds. And let's suppose the guy on A rounds is not Taco, it's FNX. And FNX is not our entry killer. Supposedly, he's not an entry killer. So let's suppose he doesn't understand the basics about entry killer. It's not his case, of course, he can understand it, but let's suppose you are the player on his position, and you don't get it wrong, you don't get it right, you don't understand what you need to do. And instead of just asking for a flashbang and just start going or something like this, you start like picking everywhere instead of going, and there's a guy behind you wanting to play, and you just don't let him play because you're like blocking him. So both of you guys, no one of you is trying to get more space. Both of you guys are just strafing and afraid of doing something. So when it comes to a team game, you need people who doesn't have fear, which is an entry killer basic fundamentals. You know, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's basic skills for entry killer. They need to understand they are here for a purpose. They need to understand they are here to catch space. And they need to use the right timing with flashbangs to get better positions and create space for your team. So talking about entry killers, that's pretty much it. Entry killers need to understand they.
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel.
Salve, Poliana! Pessoal de Minas Gerais, tamo junto, cara. Obrigado. Acho que é garota, né? Tamo junto, Poliana. Obrigado. So, an entry killer needs to have that on mind. And this main conversation about entry killer, in the end, is to just tell you that even if you're not an entry killer, in the end, depending on the round, you can act like one. And it's really important to understand that entry killers need to get space and need to get kills. And if they don't get kills, it's fine, as long as your teammate gets the trade kill. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about support. Support is the guy who needs to understand the basics on simple entries. Like, let's say, what's really needed to make an entry, a simple entry. We're talking about matchmaking games. We're not talking about super difficult strats. We're talking about easy strats. So what's very important here when it comes to help your entry killer getting kills? So when I look to Mirage B side, I think you can have some smokes that help you doing something. Let's say this smoke. If you get info that the other guy, let's suppose you are playing Navi, you're playing Edward, you're hitting B. Edward, most times they're on ladder room, you know that. Or you get some info because your mid guys told you that, or by other he's on, you know he's there. There's a simple smoke which you can throw that will probably help your team. I don't know if it's exactly this one. Okay, I might do it wrong. Yeah, not this one. Here, I guess. There's a catwalk smoke, guys. I'm not too good with some smokes. This one, prop mainly, is very, very difficult. Let me try again. I don't like doing this one, but it's a good one to this. Oh, here's this. Yeah. Mimio the Mimer. Thank you, buddy. So let's suppose you can do this smoke properly, alright? Not like me. Sometimes I fail it. But I don't use this smoke constantly. But let's suppose you know the guy is on ladder, you have a smoke and a flash. So if you are the support player, you need to think like, how can I help this guy and my team entering B now? So this is an option. You could do it. And right after it, you could just throw a flash like this. So if there's someone picking with an AWP or something here, you could be blind and your guys can start going. As an entry killer, this is a good flash too to help you getting into the site. Because it doesn't waste your time and you can do it while entering. So 2 flashes, 1 smoke, and you get a better condition to enter B side. So support players and mainly in-game leaders are trying to think what they can make better, what they can use on specific situations to make the entries better. So on my team, that's up to me. Mainly, sometimes we have Fur, sometimes we have Code, who is actually thinking about this. And that's now I'm gonna talk about an in-game leader tip. When you are dead or when you are going to prepare yourselves to make an entry, you need to ask your guys, who has a flash? Guys, who has a smoke? So let's suppose two guys says, first says, I have a smoke, I know I have a smoke, so we have two smokes. And I have Taco and FNX alive with us. We have four guys B. I'm probably just gonna say FNX and Taco get closer. As soon as we smoke and flash, you guys start going. So let's do another smoke here who could be helpful. This one. This one goes exactly to side. So let's suppose we do the both smokes together and we start going. So this is what a game leader should do. When you're hitting something, you must think what you have and you must have the knowledge to tell your teammates what to do, and you have to know the basics of how a simple entry works. This is how the most teams are playing right now. If you look for teams that are succeeding, if you look for Fnatic, if you look for, let's see, other kind, Envious, those teams doesn't rely on full strategies. They don't rely on all smokes, like 5 smokes A strategy like we did in the past. Like we had a really good strategy where we smoked everything on site and do an entry. This is good, this is not bad. I mean, this is a good strategy. But when you start your round doing things like this, you are losing all the opportunities you could have just holding, just looking for kills, just trading, and you are going for a more specific strategy, which is good sometimes and could be worse on other case. Recently, I was talking with Games Academy team. They were going under some problems because 75% of their times they were using strategy like this. They were using strategies where everyone has a start and an end of the round where they know exactly what they want to do.
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel.
Abraço, Gerson. Tamo junto, cara. Respect favela. Tamo junto. Obrigado, cara. So, it's not bad to play like this. It's not bad to play with entries. I think every team in the world should have entries, but I don't think they should just rely on the entries, because if they do that, like Games Academy was doing, and I think this was hurting the game, and like we did this in the past, and I think it's not the best thing right now. Just doesn't work properly on the level of the game we're playing. So it's good to have entries like this, but at the same time, it's bad to rely only on that. So if you are a game leader or you have a team, make sure to have some default setups where your players have freedom to look for kills, to get more info, to spend some nades, to get some, to call some spots where the players are, to look for more information. So make sure to just don't see your players like robots. Don't see them like, okay, guys, you do and this, and it's going to work. Because on a theoretical world, it's working. I mean, when you are creating strategies, you go, okay, guys, if we smoke this, and we smoke this, it's going to work like this. Your opponent's gonna be there, so we can Molotov it. But when it comes to the real game, things happen different. There are a lot of factors that you can't really predict, and in the game it happens different. So that's the bad part of every single time playing on a strict way like this. So let's talk a little bit more about what's very simple on each bomb site. That's something I started doing with my team like 6 months ago. We realized that we just can't rely everyone on hard strategies, like full strategies like this. So I start thinking, if I can't do strategies like this and I start my round really slow, what are we gonna do if we don't find kills? That's important. Let's suppose we start slowly and we play a team like SK. We played SK, we just couldn't find kills on mid, and worse than that, I was making some mistakes and even dying sometimes because I wasn't waiting for smokes on window, and I was caught off guard sometimes, and what are we gonna do if we don't manage to kill the guys during this process, during waiting? So in the end of the round, we're gonna have not a lot of smokes, not a lot of flash, not a lot of molotovs, but we're gonna have something. Some of our guys gonna save it, or maybe me, beginning of the round, I'm gonna
Permissão
say,
para me apresentar, coronel. Que satisfação.
yeah, maybe some other time, Gara. Thanks for the donation, man. I will try to stray on Mirage this time and talking about the roles things and what I think it's important, and I can catch up these other subjects other time, man. Thanks for the suggestion. So I started thinking my team needs to know some simple way of entering every bomb site. If my team understand what's important to enter bomb sites, we can manage to get rounds even if we don't find kills. So that's something I have been trying to put on my teammates' mind during a lot of time. So let's see bomb site A on Mirage. Let's suppose you have, let's say, two smokes. How I'm going to choose which smokes to use on a situation where we are not on site, we're on A and A house? What are we going to do? So we have a lot of smokes here. We have this smoke, we have this smoke, we have jungle smoke, we have leather smoke, we have this one, I don't know how you guys call it, we have this smoke, we have even this smoke like this, to pit. We have some other smokes as well. So we must choose on two because we don't have a lot of options. So what I started to do is which smokes are better, like which smokes are more important. And in my opinion, if you wanna hit A, stair smoke and this smoke are the most important ones. Because CT spawn and CT stairs are not that important because the guy can jump over here and just collect more info and sometimes even make it harder to kill it. You think you are safe because you have a smoke there, but in the end it's even worse. So let's suppose we catch up in a 4v4 situation, we have two smokes and we just decided to fall back A. So this is what the game leader needs to do. He needs to say, okay guys, how many smokes you have? Oh, we have two. Okay, please prepare two smokes, one gonna be stairs, one gonna be there, I don't know the name how you guys call it, and let's do it, alright? So then, all players need to understand how to do a coordinated A entry. So, how you do a coordinated A entry, or how do you oftenly do any entry coordinated? First, you have to set up the smokes. Second, you need to have a good timing with flash and the entry killer acting right after it. So, let's suppose theoretically our entry killer has the smoke and the flash and I'm fallen, I am the AWP, I have an AK, but I have spent all my nades getting mid control and now I don't have anything, I have only my AK. So what's better? I'm gonna leave Taco working as an entry killer or I'm gonna leave me who doesn't have nades and use Taco as a support. What's better guys? Brian8957, thank you for subscribing man. I appreciate that. So answer me, what's better? I am the team captain, I don't have nades, and I have Taco, who is my entry killer, but he has nades because of how the round managed to happen. So it's kind of obvious, right? Taco should be doing the support role. Fallen should be doing the entry killer role. And this is wrong. You guys managed to do all the things during the round wrong just because Taco should be the guy without smokes and you should have smokes. I don't think this is smart. Like, I don't think how the game is working right now, this is smart because if you act like this, you're gonna be so obvious every single time when Taco joins a site. People gonna know it's there because he's our entry killer. Uh, oh, just a
Permissão para
second.
me apresentar, coronel.
Hey,
Que
Fallen, please,
satisfação.
if you have any time later, could explain which should help, more also which one you use while you play. Okay, I will try to say something about this, Fizz. Thank you. So, so let's say it's pretty common sense, right? Now I explain, could answer easily. I have one guy which has nades and one guy who doesn't have nades. Their roles are changed. Somehow we ended around like this. Some people could just look for this and say, guys, you did all the round wrongly. You guys fuck it up. Fallen, you are the game leader. Why the hell did you use your nades instead of saving it to the end of the round? I mean, Fallen, you are a stupid game leader. Now, use everything and your team can't do anything. You guys can't join a side. So in the past, I used to think like this, and I think sometimes other teams think like this. And on my opinion, I'm not the I'm not the only guy. I'm not the one who is right on everything, but I have my own opinions. I don't know if it's right for everyone, but for me it's right. I think every player should understand how to
Permissão
do
para me
every
apresentar,
role.
coronel. Que
Thanks, Extreme.
satisfação, aspiro.
Thank you so much for the donation, man. So I think every single player on my team needs to be able to do all the roles. So if I catch up Taco with smokes and I don't have it, I'm probably gonna be the entry, and I need to know every single important thing that an entry killer needs to know. So that's why I told you in the beginning of this conversation that in the end this is a team game. But in the end, if the individuals doesn't know everything about this game, it won't work. So if you get better as an individual, if you get better understand how each role works, you're gonna be an easier teammate to play with. So let's say we're gonna play some matches after this conversation. We're gonna play FPL, right? So when you play FPL matches, you don't have a lot of coordination. So I'm going to play FPL with Warden from Complexity. I'm gonna play with Mo. I'm going to play with, let's say, Fur. I'm gonna play with Witchmer. Some players that sometimes I don't even know who they are, like Whitmer. Before FPL, I don't even know who this guy were. And I don't know if he's an entry killer, if he likes to be lurking, if he likes to be a supportive player, if he's an LP. But in the end, if we stop here on 30 seconds of the round and I'm going to hit A with him, I need to think with myself, Whitmer, who has the nades. If he says, I have the nades, I expect him to be the support player. If I don't have it, I'm going to be entry killer. So if he says, I don't have nades, and I realize I don't have nades either, then we need to do something different. Then we both gonna act like entry killers. We're both just gonna start picking and going and trying to play together. So in the end, guys, you just need to understand how each role works and what you should do on each situation. That's what good players. That's why good players are good because they know every single time what they're gonna do. And if you look for Fnatic, who for me is the best team in the world for a while, they simply why they're good. And some people ask me why is Fnatic that good? Why is Fnatic winning everything? Why is Fnatic better than the other teams? Because in the end, I think those guys learned how to do every single role, and they understand how to don't commit mistakes, and they understand how to take everything they can from every situation. In the end, they are better doing this than the other teams are. In the end, they don't rely on strategies. You can't predict Fnatic. You can't say Fnatic is going to do a 5 smokes a entry on you. You can't just outstrat them because they're not doing this.
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel. Que
Thank you, Extreme.
satisfação.
Thank you, buddy. So, in the end, Fnatic is not doing every single time the same thing on same maps. So you can't just predict what they're doing. And different than that, they're doing the same thing over and over, but they're doing it relying on their skill, relying on communication, relying on what they think is more important and what they think is the correct decision on this situation. And that if there is something I I understood on Counter Strike after those 12 years playing is that every single game is different than the other. So even if you try to predict what's going to happen, even if you try to watch demos, okay, guys, we have to do homework. We have to understand how they're gonna play. We have to understand how they entry, how they execute their strategies. It can be different when it's your time to play them. So that's something I even don't like too much. If you say, Fallen, you're gonna play Envious tomorrow, please watch their demos 7 hours daily and see what they do, see where you can get their mistakes, see everything you should do. If you start like this, you're gonna go to the game thinking so much on what they're gonna do that you're gonna start making mistakes on your game. So that's something to think about. Of course, you need to understand how things work. Like, let's talk about Mirage on Envious. If you ask me about Envious Mirage, I know a lot of things from them. And not because I know something from them, that I'm gonna play full different and okay, let's focus on this play style because they can make different things, you know. So you can catch up information on our opponents, but you can't change everything because of that. All right. So Alright, let's keep moving. So we talk a little bit about entry killers, we talk a little bit about support players, what they should do on entries. Let's talk about on AWP now. Let's talk about my role. So on my team, I'm usually the guy who is sniping. Sometimes Godzilla is getting this gun as well, but it's mostly me. And there are two types of actions a sniper can do in every single round as T.
Permissão para me
Dex
apresentar,
God, hey
coronel.
Foley, I really appreciate everything you do for the CSGO scene. Thank you, my friend. Your opinion on top 5 NA players excluding LG? Dex God. Well, I think the better NA players is hard to say because we have a lot of good NA players, but the guys that I like most, the guys that I think are really good, I think Swag is one of the best players in NA, even if he is not playing tournaments anymore. He's really good. If he was playing, he should probably be on the top teams. I think Hiko is a pretty good player. He's a good lurker. He's one of the best in the world. I think Tarek is a very good player as well. Uh, Scadudo for sure. He's the best AWPer in North America. Maybe JDM is catching up, but he's really good. And let's see another good player. I think Nitro is pretty good as well from Liquid. So, but a lot of names, man. You can go really far with those names. So let's keep talking a little bit more about AWP. When you are a sniper on your team, there are some things you are looking for in a round as T. So let's say you gonna try for a pick. You just respawned here. It's a good respawn. You like to find a pick on window. So this is something snipers need to find. Snipers needs to find kill. But if you only think like this, if you only think you are usable if you find kills, you're gonna catch yourself in a bad position because you're gonna die too much. So a good sniper should understand which picks are more favorable and needs to understand how to play passively as well. So like let's suppose Falling. Falling is hungry for kills. Every single round, he's gonna do everything he can to find a kill with a sniper. Doesn't matter what his team is doing, doesn't matter. He is there to find kills. I mean, this can work like 4, 5, 6 times, but 6, 7, 8 times is not going to work. I mean, it's difficult to find kills every single round if you try to catch them every single round because otherwise teams would just like, be careful guys, Falling is coming somewhere. So just wait for Falling. You guys gonna kill them. So I mean, you need to look for good picks where you have advantage, and you need to look for picks where it makes sense. So let's look up for Guardian for at least for a second. There's a strat on Navi where they get mid control really fast. They use top smoke here, and Guardian is picking right after the smoke with some teammate going in front of him, and he just does like this. I died for him on a tournament like this. So it's a pick, but it's during a strategy, and he's doing something with his team as well. It's not just a random pick. So when you play FPL, when you play this mix, when you play matchmaking, it's more about this kind of picks where players are looking to kill someone without really making sense for the rollhound. And so there's two different types of picking. There's the one type where you go alone and you try to carry it by yourself, and there's the other one where you suit a strategy and it makes more sense because it's not simple to come here and pick here. You can die from jungle, you can die from catwalk, and even guys on link can be harmful. So it doesn't make too much sense to do it alone. But if you have a proper setup, proper strategy, it does make sense, and sometimes it does make sense a lot. So it could be the same thing, but depending on what our teammates are doing, makes more sense. I know if you catch it up. Okay, so let's keep talking about other things. Let's talk about Scadudo style. Scadudo style is the opposite of what we're saying here. Scadudo is the guy who is perfectly doing the other role on sniping that's really important and sometimes even more important than that. So you have snipers who are looking for kills. This style is good. Snipers must do this style and the other one. And you have snipers who are thinking about the strategy and putting themselves in the right positions in order to assure kills. So let's talk about Mirage. If your team hits B and you are using an AWP, you have two chances, two way of acting. First one, you can pick B, so you can fight the AWPer, or you can even kill someone jumping close to the car. After that, after you try to pick, it's time for your teammates to get in action. So it doesn't make sense to have all the AKs behind you and you just come like this. Okay guys, leave it to me. I'm gonna kill everyone. Doesn't make too much sense. It's better to just do a proper execution, flash, flash, smoke, and then you guys gonna hit the side together, trade kills, and then you find the AWP in a good position like this. This is one of the best positions in the game. Like, even if the guy on B killed 2 guys, and you have an AWP there, and you trade another kill, it's fair, it's 3 on 3, and you have the side. You, all you can do, all you need to do is an after plan. A good after plan, you will be fine. So, in the end, being a sniper is more than just looking for kills. It's getting and understanding what your team is doing, what are the opportunities after what they're gonna do. So this is something I think Skadoodle is really good at, and this is why he's one of the best operators in the world, on my opinion. I don't think he's a really good picker. I don't think he's a really aggressive operator looking for kills everywhere. He's the kind of guy who is acting with his team, and if his team find the a good situation, if his team put him on a good situation, he is going to shine. So this is really important. So if you are an AWPer on your team, you need to think and understand which positions are good to pick, and when it stops being your part, it starts being your teammate's part, and then when it starts being your part again. I don't know if you got it, but I hope you got it, okay? So let's talk a bit more about lurkers, all right? So a common sense where a common sense about lurkers, and sometimes wrong, is that lurkers should be taking care of your flanks. That's something lurkers do, but not only that. Let's look at Olaf Meister. Olaf Meister is a guy who sometimes Basinantrachi. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for subscribing. Obrigado. So Olaf Meister, he's not Fnatic Lurker, right? Fnatic Lurker is Flusha, 100%. But if you catch up like Cobblestone, you're gonna see Olaf Meister hitting B alone platform, and that's why a lot of people call it Olaf Meister position. Some people call it like Olaf play. And Olaf Meister, when he's alone platform, we can consider him as a lurker because he's acting alone. That's why how I understand it. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, a lurker is the guy who is acting alone and the team is acting somewhere else. So if you look into Fnatic rounds on Cobblestone, Olaf Meister is hitting B, sometimes with more aggression, sometimes with less aggression, and his team is looking for frags on Catwalk and on middle, long A and mid. So you're gonna say, why is not Flusha working on platform instead of Olaf Meister? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Flusha is their lurker, so if they're gonna keep it restricted to positions, to roles, it's wrong. But in the end, Olaf Meister is a better player due to what he's doing platform than Flusha. That's one point. Second point, Flusha is used to hold mid and long A. So he's the guy who in other rounds is taking more info on how the team plays there, like how their opponents are playing on these positions. So if you just start changing roles just because it makes more sense on paper, in the end you're gonna lose a lot of game sense, a lot of game depth. Like you're gonna lose all the personal information that this guy has been taking on all rounds just to put the other guy here because it's too slow. So lurkers can be different on different rounds. So let's talk about us. Let's talk about LG a little. Let's suppose LG is doing a mid control. We have some people getting mid control and we have Taco looking forward to A side. Well, Taco is acting like a lurker. If Taco acts passively, if Taco's hold like this, just punishing whoever aggros, he's being a lurker, passively lurker. If Tacos start picking Amen or start like hitting here with nades, getting attention, he's being a lurker looking for info, looking for kills, which is good. So there are two types of lurker. There are lurkers who just secure positions, and there are lurkers who look for kills. And what I think Lofmeister is extremely good lurker, so is Flusha. Flusha is way more passively than Lofmeister, but Lofmeister is the guy who can, alone, by himself, get all the info and put fear on the other team and even get kills. That's why he's so good when he's lurking. So I think most of teams that are starting right now put lurkers just to look their flanks. Like, okay, let's do a B entry. Lurker, please. You get our flank. Don't move. I mean, this is something lurkers can do, but it's not the only thing they can do, no? Do you think lurker should be the stronger person in the team, or he knows timing really well? Well, when it comes to lurker, lurkers need to understand the timing, the rotations pretty well, because you need to understand why the guys, how long the guy is gonna take to get there, or how much time the team needs to wait until they rotate. So let's suppose it's a 3-on-3. You have one guy in man and you have two guys B-house, right? This guy is acting like a lurker. So on this situation, you have two opportunities. You can use the lurker as someone who is going to make the other team say, okay, guys, it's A, so it's safer to your guys to go B. Or you can make the lurker go A, looking for a kill right after the guys on B appears. So there are two types of lurking on this decision, on these opportunities, this situation. Sorry. So if you are a man, your team has two guys would be, you can even make noise or appears or try to pick in order to make the guy on A to say it's A, and sometimes make the guys that holds B make mistakes, and you can and the guys on B make it easier, or you can wait and get kills easier, just find another kill. So when you understand this and you communicate it with your team, both situations are good. It's just a matter of asking which one makes more sense. Let's suppose you have 10 HP, you don't have nades, you are not looking for kills, correctly? Doesn't make sense. You are probably 90% of the times gonna lose this fight. But let's suppose you don't have nades, but you have 100 HP, so you can fight someone. You have good conditions to win. So all these things needs to be points when you're going to take a decision. So let's suppose another situation. You have 10 HP, but you have all nades. You have smoke, you have a flash, and you can take all their info. So just this smoke is enough to make the guy on A say, guys, they might be hitting A. There's this weird smoke here. They might be coming. And then you flash him or something, he's gonna be scared. That's all he needs to say. Guys, they might be here. The single communication can make the guy on B, Jesus, it's A, start walking, and the guys on B are just coming and hit him. So those are things that really need to be on every single player's mind, and they need to get this from classes, they need to get this from demos, they need to get this from watching pro player matches, and they need to figure it out and understand what's happening. All right, so we talk a little bit about entry, supports, AWPs, lurker. Let's talk about in-game leading for a second. So when you talk about in-game leading, first thing needs to be the guy with more experience on your team, because being the game leader, it's something that you need to like to do. First of all, you need to be the guy who is looking for strategies. You need to be the guy who likes to be perfect, the guy who understands. Needs to be someone who can accept mistakes, because if the game leader doesn't accept mistakes, the team is not going to work. It's going to be a really boring game leader. Like, you do something wrong, he's here crushing you down. If you do something really bad, he's like, Jesus, why you did that?
Para me apresentar, Coronel. Que satisfação.
Thanks, Judge Kui. Yeah, man, we can have some Brazilian barbecue. Brazilian barbecue is awesome. I miss it. Thanks, man. So the question is, the in-game leader needs to be calm and need to accept mistakes. You probably have already played on some teams on Counter-Strike, and some in-game leaders act like this during games. When someone say bad things to you during a game because you made some mistakes, you're probably gonna play way worse. That's real. That's for real. It happens to us sometimes. Like when we have some arguments during games, our game just goes down. So if you're a game leader and you see someone doing something wrong, instead of bashing him, you choose just, oh, never mind about this round, we'll talk later, let's go to the next. So this positive mindset is what make the things keep evolving, keep getting better. So this is something I have been doing with my team for so long, and on our team we don't accept this kind of mindset. If we have someone playing and bashing other people and complaining during games, he's probably going to be kicked out. Never happened for us, being honest. Even the guys who got being removed to their team, it wasn't because of this, because we simple will never call someone to join our team who act like this. This is unacceptable. It's a team game. If someone is acting like this, he's playing for the other team. He's helping the other team. So the game is difficult enough to have someone on your team playing for the other team. So that explains a lot. All right. So another thing about in-game leading is that with time you're gonna learn a lot of things. So let's say something here on Mirage. When you get kills on mid, let's suppose you're giving control, right? And suddenly, for no reason, Fer is here underpass and he got kills here on connector. Well, you are now in a 5v4 situation, alright? 5v4 situation, and your team has a lead. So if you keep changing players, you're probably gonna win the round. An in-game leader who doesn't have enough experience wouldn't say anything. You just say, guys, keep rolling.
Permissão para me apresentar, coronel.
Paula, thank you, my
Que
friend. We need to
satisfação
play together,
ouvir.
Paula, again. Thank you, man. So, if Fer got kill, in-game leader without experience is just don't say anything. You just keep playing. In the end, after playing a lot of rounds, I realized that when you find a kill on mid, sometimes, depending on the situation, it's better to just fall back everyone and keep the lead you have. So to get on this, to have this mindset, to understand this, I have to lose a lot of rounds where we got a kill and we lost the round. So after going through a lot of rounds like this, I understood that sometimes it's better to just fall back and let them have mid if you have a lead, because it's easy to win a round like this. It's not always, of course. We sometimes we continue doing the mid control and try to go ladder sometimes and this kind of things, but oftenly if someone's in my team think we're gonna lose this lead for some reason, we call the fallback and everyone just disappear from it and we keep the lead. So this is something that you're gonna be learning and learning after realizing why we're losing rounds. And in order to understand and get better, you need to have an open mindset. You need to have an open mind to think, why did I lose this round? Instead of blaming someone like, oh, Fer, you did it wrong, man. You are not supposed to pick here. You did it wrong, so it's your fault because you lose this round. It might be his fault, but in the end, you need to understand properly what happened and what are the other possibilities you could have made to improve. If you just keep punishing someone because of rounds you're losing, you probably won't evolve. So in Counter-Strike, one thing in Counter-Strike, one thing that is really important, start learning from your mistakes instead of bashing the other people. This is something game leaders needs to do. If you are a game leader and you are just bashing people and just blaming people, sorry, you are not going to success. I'm sure of that because you're not evolving fast enough. You're putting your players down, and this is not working. So for game leaders, guys, be sure to have an open mindset. You might be right on a lot of things you think, but you might be wrong as well. I have been wrong a lot of times in my life in terms of in-game leading. I have been leading my team wrongly for a long time. I think sometimes I still make wrong decisions, but I make a lot of good decisions as well. So you playing right now on a, let's say, a noob level, you are starting now. You're probably gonna make a lot of mistakes. You're probably gonna make a lot of good calls, and you need to keep improving from everything that's happening with you. All right. So in order to make that, be sure to have an open mindset so you can criticize yourself, criticize your teammates with properly matters, and keep evolving. Okay. So boys, in the end, resuming this conversation, don't fool yourself
Permissão para me
that
apresentar,
if you are an
coronel.
entry killer,
Que
thank you Relic, thanks
satisfação
man, thanks
ouvir.
for the donation. We're gonna put in practice now in FPL games. So in the end, guys, don't fool yourself that you can only have one role in a game. Don't fool yourself. In order to have a good team with a lot of setups, with a lot of conditions, with a lot of possibilities, you need to be able to do more than that. Second, even if you are playing with people that you never met before, you're gonna have a role on each round. Doesn't matter if you set up it before or not. If they caught up going B and you are A, you are a lurker. If you caught up going B and you are the first guy, you are an killer. If you see a guy going in front, you are the support. If you are the helper, you need to play yourself on good positions. You need to cut up the rotations. You need to be on good positions in order to kill the guys coming to do the retake. So in the end, doesn't matter who you're playing with. You have roles to play and you need to understand the good, okay? Moses TV, thank you, my friend. Is it Moses? The caster, the famous one, the boss. Thank you, Moses. If that you, I appreciate you there, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you there. Ooh. Thank you, Moses. Good to see you, man. Oh, let me mod you. Just a second. You are a boss here, my friend. Thank you so much. So, guys, I hope you like subjects in other conversations. Uh, I will say sorry for my bad English again. It's very difficult to me to think in Portuguese and then translate in English and try to say. I'm getting better in English with time, but I hope you guys liked it. And we'll make sure to try to do another subjects later. Maybe something more specific so we can go deeper in some concepts, okay? PWM Lunchbox, thank you, my friend, to subscribe. I appreciate that, man. So guys, let's put all this conversation in action right now. Let's play some FPL, and of course we can talk about what roles I'm doing in game and what roles my teammates are doing and what are the mistakes if we realize some.